Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, New York City, we have Danielle Shay. She is the director of options over at Simpler Trading. We're going to take a look at getting ready for tech earnings heading into the upcoming earnings season. Danielle, it's great to see you. As always, before we get into our charts here, you have a methodology that you use applying option strategies when you're going into earnings.
Yes, that's correct. So one of my favorite trading patterns is what we like to call the run into earnings. Stocks experience this run into earnings where they trade higher going into their earnings report when they have strong technicals and strong fundamentals. So what I like to do is I like to identify those stocks and trade them in the options market using this pattern.
All right, let's take a look at our first chart here. The Nasdaq 100, the NDX, the top 100 non-financial names in the Nasdaq composite, and this is where we get those mix of the FANG names, the Microsofts and all that. So let's get an overall picture of what the NDX is saying.
So the NDX is really the best index to drill down into and focus on the run into earnings because these are the modern day industrials, these are the tech companies, the innovative cloud computing, cybersecurity companies, and these are the ones that are historically showing quarter over quarter and year over year growth. And so what I've done on this chart is I've outlined with this red line here, 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 and then the next one. This is the heart of earnings season where you have Microsoft, you've also got Amazon. That is the week of those earnings. And so what you'll notice is you see this pattern where it trades higher going into that key earnings week.
All right. So let's take a look at some of the individual names here. We'll go into Microsoft, of course, a Nasdaq 100 company. That's our next chart here. We'll take a deeper dive into that.
So here's an example of Microsoft. Microsoft is one of my favorite companies to trade this setup on because they experience quarter over quarter, year over year growth. They're very innovative and their guidance is usually very positive. On these bubbles here, you will see the stock movement after a quarterly earnings report. So typically what we want to see when we're trading the run into earnings is we want to see the past few quarters that the stock moved higher after the fact because of a positive report. You also want to see the pattern prior to the report. And so what we do is we use that pattern in the options market to buy long options and trade that into the report.
All right, our next chart here, take a look at Akamai. Are you seeing a similar pattern on this chart?
Yes, Akamai as well. Akamai is a very innovative company. It's been very strong. You can see that on the technical pattern. You see a pattern of higher highs, higher lows. You also have stacked moving averages. You can see those nice bright green candles, and then you can also see the positive moves after the earnings report. So this would fit my pattern, and I like to look to trade that higher into the next earnings report.
All right, now you have a lot of bubbles up there.
Yes.
Multiple different colors. Are those certain parameters that you put in for every single one of these charts?
So primarily, I like to focus on these guys right here that are focusing on the move after the earnings report. These are also important if you're trying to quantify earnings trades. We also will trade earnings trades in our options trading
It looks like there's a lot of volatility metrics in there.
Yes, that's correct. And so we'll use that to determine what we think the stock is going to do on the actual earnings report. And those are a little bit more aggressive trades, but they can be enjoyable as well.
All right, Danielle, thank you so much as always. I'll see you in a couple weeks in Vegas for the Trader for a Cause conference. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.